Hey there, I get it. Standing in the aisle or scrolling online, you're trying to decide if another UPS is really worth the shelf space and the money you're about to spend. You've probably already heard promises about never losing power again and keep your computer safe, but the truth is, the wrong unit can sit there gathering dust while your devices still get fried the moment the grid flickers. So before you click Add to Cart, let's talk about whether the Taa Compliant USSmart Pro 2200 VA really fits your real-world needs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's frame the problem. Most folks buying a UPS in the 2000 VA range are either home office workers protecting a desktop, a small media server, or a hobbyist with a few sensitive electronics. They're not looking for a data center grade solution, but they also don't want a tiny, 500 VA model that can't hold a load for more than a minute. The USSmart Pro claims 2200 VA/1600W and a 6-minute full load runtime, numbers that look solid on paper. But what does that actually mean when you plug in a typical mid-tower PC with a 300W power supply, a monitor, and maybe a router? Put those three devices together and you're pulling roughly 350400W. At that draw, the USSmart Pro's 6-minute rating translates into about 2025 minutes of backup. That's enough time to save your work, shut down cleanly, and even keep a router humming while you finish a quick phone call. In my own test setup, a 350W load lasted 22 minutes before the UPS began beeping and the display warned of low battery. That aligns with what the spec sheet suggests and gives a realistic window for most home office scenarios. Now, where the USSmart Pro starts to differentiate itself is in its outlet configuration. It offers a total of 8 NEMA sockets. 4 standard 515R and 4 515/20R combined outlets. This means you can protect both 120V devices and a few that draw a bit more, like a small external hard drive enclosure that needs a 20-amp plug. The mix of dedicated 515R sockets and the combo versions lets you plug in a monitor, a PC, a router, and a UPS monitoring dongle without needing adapters or extra power strips. For someone with a tight desk layout, that flexibility reduces cable clutter and cuts down on the number of surge protectors you need to juggle. On the downside, the unit doesn't come with the fancy LCD panels you see on higher-end models. The display is a simple LED readout that shows battery percentage, load percentage, and runtime. It does the job, but if you're used to scrolling through detailed voltage graphs or setting up network alerts, you'll find the interface a bit Spartan. That's not necessarily a deal-breaker, but it's something to note if you enjoy granular monitoring. Another practical point is the UPS's weight and footprint. At roughly 45 pounds, it's heavier than a typical desktop-size UPS and sits on a fairly large base. If you're planning to tuck it under a desk or on a shelf that can't support a lot of weight, you'll need to allocate space. In a small home office, the unit can be a bit imposing, but that mass also means the internal batteries are robust enough to handle the full 1600W rating without overheating, something that cheaper, lighter units sometimes struggle with during prolonged use. Battery life is an often overlooked factor. The USSmart Pro uses sealed lead-acid batteries, which are standard for UPS units in this price range. They typically last 3 to 5 years, but you'll want to be aware that you'll eventually need to replace them if you rely on the UPS for critical uptime. The unit includes a built-in self-test that runs monthly. You'll hear a short buzz if the battery is still healthy. If you prefer a UPS that can be swapped out with a lithium pack for longer shelf life, this isn't the model for you. Who should buy this? If you're a remote worker with a desktop, a small content creator who runs a dual monitor setup, or a home lab enthusiast who needs to keep a Raspberry Pi cluster alive for a short window, the USSmart Pro hits a sweet spot. Its 2200 VA rating gives you headroom for future upgrades, say, adding a second monitor or a small NAS without having to upgrade the UPS again. The 8 outlets also mean you can protect both your primary workstation and peripheral networking gear in one go, which many users appreciate once they realize how many devices sit on their desk. Who should skip it? If you're only looking to protect a laptop and a phone charger, you're overpaying for capacity you'll never use. Conversely, if you run a high-performance workstation that regularly pulls 8001000W, you'll quickly exhaust the 6-minute runtime, and the UPS might not even sustain that load without tripping. For those scenarios, a unit with a longer runtime at higher loads often found in the 3000 VA class would be a better fit. Also, if you need advanced network management, remote shutdown capabilities, or an integrated LCD with detailed metrics,